Infernal Shrines, though. Like, this is more of a Leoric map than Cursed Hollow, for sure.
Yeah, it is, but it's also a Diablo map and a Kerrigan map, and you know whose map it isn't anymore?
Paragon?
Not really, and Tychus also kind of bit the.
Ooh, Tygus had a really good win rate at Eastern Clash, though.
I
I'm
know,
just gonna
but
say, like, in the right comp, I think he's still pretty good.
we'll see. Tassadar will not make it through. Could be a Zarya Ben here, honestly. We've seen a lot of that.
Tassadar, realizing that they don't want to, they didn't switch sides, did they?
I do not believe so.
Yeah, so realizing that they didn't want to be forced into the Tassadar anymore, I think they're just like, all right, look, we'll give it up. You know, we're not going to try another Tassadar comp. We're fine.
Well, there's the Zarya ban. First pick Arthas.
I mean, before we would think maybe not, but I think this is a really good battleground to do that on. If you are going to do that, a hero that I would love to see in response to that is if you're matching ice, you go with fire. And Diablo, I think, is a really good counter to Arthas on this.
So now this is just a song of ice and fire.
Dun, 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 dun.
Uh, don't do that to me. I feel like
Well, I was just singing a random tune.
I'm excited for that show to come back. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm excited regardless. Malfi is going to be that first pick, conceding a lot of the juicy warriors that you look at. So maybe it's Dahaka, maybe it's Arthas, maybe it's both.
Yeah, I think you can really get away with a lot of that, and I think that if you're looking to play just like that stalwart front line, maybe an early Gul'dan pickup would be an option, I think, here. I think there's a lot of really good options. You know, if you do want to go Vala, you could definitely do that again. We saw a killer Vala played last game. And when it comes to hatred stacks and things like that, is that it's extremely easy to keep those hatred stacks up just because of these skeletal defenders. So you generally always have something to attack. Then you can turn and do that burst damage, especially if you build into multi-shot at 4 and 7. Then you can just turn, fire that off, and you have instant burst damage against your opponent if they step forward. So it's the reason why she's so popular on this. I think Tychus might actually see play in this game, though.
2 seconds. And Valarial first rotation. I mean, okay. I guess if that's, you're looking at your support pool and you're saying you want to put that threat for Gul'dan up on the table even higher to potentially get a ban out of it, potentially force a pick right here, as well as, you know, lock in support you're very happy to have. I mean, they're both good on this map. Still unexpected.
If you're LFM and you have somebody that plays Chromie, maybe not this rotation, but going forward. So Chromie slowing Sands versus as opposed to Temporal Loop, I think both are great options. But slowing Sands, we've actually seen on this. If you look at the middle and the bottom shrine phases, the top is kind of a weird one, but the middle and bottom, they have different escape points, but you generally see a general direction people fall back to, especially middle. You normally fall back towards the middle area. The bottom one, you have kind of two directions you can go safely in terms of distance. They are going to go Greymane Arthas, but Chromie, I think, is a very viable pick against an Ariel Vala on this map.
So you're thinking maybe a Chromie ban?
I mean, it's kind of a niche pick, but you can kind of look to see where they go in their draft. If they end up picking, say, Double Warrior in this case, you just have to be careful because Cocktail build is kind of what we see from Greymane here, especially around the shrines. So if you end up going Cocktail build and then you leave open a spot for something like a Tyrael or an Anubarak, then it becomes far less appealing because you're very heavily based on ability damage. So you got to keep that in mind, I think, when you're potentially picking a Chromie, and that's why when you're first pick, and basically you're a 2-pick rotation at the end, it's much more difficult. But if you're second pick and you go 2-2-1, you can kind of fit it into that last slot a little bit more comfortably.
It will end up being a Gul'dan ban.
ETC, I feel, should be one of the more likely bans. You can afford to give up other stuff. I think Muradin and Diablo are kind of the backup options here that would do really well. Arthas, again, good frontline control, as he's able to put out good AoE damage and just good control. But if he gets dove upon, if he gets slid upon, then it's much more difficult. Again, I think Diablo is really, really good on this, especially against low mobility warriors like Arthas, is that you can use your overpower, charge them away back into your team. They don't necessarily have the same type of engagement options. Instead, they're going to let ETC through by banning Sonya and taking away more frontline control.
Yeah, Sonya's a pick that we don't talk about for all teams, but is very good on this map in particular. And when both of your CC are not stuns, I think that's a really intelligent ban because, man, you need to be able to stop the whirlwind, really, when it comes down to Sonya. Otherwise, she's going to get too much value out of that healing.
Yeah, I agree. You can go Hurricane at 4 to reduce the roots and stuff like that, which is basically what Arthas would be doing, so, and Malfurion as well. So I like the ban. But you got to feel ETC will be coming through here.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, we talk about Dibbles, but ETC is just tried and true. Joe Dahaka. Well,
haven't seen a lot of Johanna since the rework.
No, but she's still so good on this map.
She's more so she's more of an auto attack defense warrior now.
Right.
It's kind of how her kit is built. She had a health nerf. She gains more
armor.
Strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
she got more armor
now,
though, right?
Huh?
She got more armor, correct?
Yeah, the physical armor. I can't remember.
I think
so much has happened.
I
since
think
Poland.
if the math goes through, though, the way I'm thinking it, it's against auto attack heroes. She's technically stronger.
Yes.
So not gonna help her against Chromie though.
By going double warrior in that slot, you open up the Chromie possibility because now they can't draft a warrior against that.
Right.
And so Johanna, again, now becomes more of a liability. That's why I said sometimes drafting strategies, you normally you cannot fit. I think I even said it right before that, is if they draft double warrior, Chromie becomes a possibility. If you don't draft double warrior there, and you're afraid of giving up because they weren't going to go Johanna. You flexed Johanna into that last pick. Now you have to flex your last pick to counter Chromie. And that's much more difficult to do with your current composition of Vala Ariel. If you want, you could go into something, and Zeratul, not as easy because Chromie has visibility. Malfurion has his scouting drone. So you have things to deal with heroes like that. So it's not as valuable. And because you did not go ETC, you don't have to worry about having a hero, because when you look at Mouth Greymane Arthas, you didn't have a hero that could necessarily counter a mosh pit effectively. Twilight Dream would be your only one. So you kind of force the rotations in drafting. So there's a huge depth when it comes to draft strategy, and the Chromie pick, I like it a lot.
And this feels desperate, you know? That last pick, Medivh, again, in response to the blow up of the Chromie. It could be very good against the Curse Bullet as well. It is ultimately, you know, lone Vala assassin. Medivh can put out the numbers, but Master's Touch is going to be an essential part of the narrative in this game.
I like the Chromie pickup a lot.
Yeah, you were talking about it even in the first half of the draft.
Yeah, I think it's great. Slowing Sands is going to do really, really well. Johanna, depending on if she uses her Iron Skin, you're going to have heroes walk through that, and it makes it far easier to land skill shots. And Chromie's Q ability will not hit minions. It does not do damage if you opt to go Bronze Challenge and get follow-up and get auto attacks from that. which will probably be the choice. But it makes it far easier to land skill shots around shrines. And if you get any type of follow-up, you get roots. Think about it. Hitting a root target raw, you can dodge that. Hitting a root target that's going already slowed becomes a lot easier. And so you can really follow up on kills that way.
It's true, and we'll see what they can do. But in the blue, it's imported support. Now, they've got that global advantage with Dahaka. Dahaka in the solo lane versus a noob. Dahaka's going to win that lane.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's the one thing that they really lack with this composition is Greymane is arguably your best wave clear. I really like the fact that Malfurion did go into Moonburn.
I think it's critical.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much a necessity with this composition. So that will help out a lot. Anubarak will indeed probably lose that lane, but wave clear definitely lacking on the side of LFM, but we'll see if it matters.
Well, we see Hecarim just kind of whittling around as his love bug life. Soy gonna be able to put on a lot of big damage, but still wary. The bird can provide vision onto Chromie, so it's something he's gonna constantly have to be aware of, just making sure he's not being collapsed on. The noob does make his way to top first. Dahaka's down at bottom now, brush stalking up to the top lane before losing any XP. Good rotation there. Very efficient start with that rotation, and now we're going to see this laning phase. How well can Hecarim mitigate the pressure?
Regen master the pickup for Johanna, so we'll probably see a heavy 4-man rotation, which is exactly what we're seeing. Basically, you take Johanna, you use your condemn, you rotate everybody with her. You have very fast wave clear, and you'll see it right here. No condemn yet. Looking to see if we could,
You'll see it right here.
I guess they're
he's trying to zone Draded away from the experience. He's trying to deny some.
It'll just come directly to him.
Yeah, that's true.
An interesting way if you're playing Globe Talent.
Ish. Looking for that Howling Blast onto the Aware, but the safe rotation is there. Crux, however, takes a ton of damage from Soy's full DPS coming out. Good Detainment Strike. Howling Blast should be available soon-ish. Nope, not going to end up using it here.
First Shrine phase is going to be at the top, and so you won't get power of the global because Dahaka is already there. Ishbu eating a bit of damage mid lane. Ignition got to be a little bit careful. They're trying to dive in on him, but the portal will get him out before he takes any damage. His Force of Will was used as well. So both teams plan to get level 4 before they fully commit to that Shrine phase, which they should be able to pick up in that top lane.
Okay, Detainment Strike in to Draded, who's just going to go over the wall. Everything thrown into that spot, hitting nothing. And a noob has begun collecting a few of these skeletal defenders for his team. 8-2 so far. Great Detainment Strikes from the Aware all game long, always getting the stun.
Swaps McGee already getting a good start as Chromie will continue to try and poke, opting to go Bronze Talent, so can put a little bit, Ignition taking a bit of damage as well, but Chromie can add a little bit to this. I mean, it's not the best, but they do have, again, other things around them that can help for sure.
And specialty has just been keeping that energy bar full for Arl. Good engage here from Crux going to the back. Chromie trying to lay on the damage, but it just doesn't seem like an issue for Arl to heal through. Detainment Strike once again. Beautifully done there, using all these little bits of terrain, even the Shrine earlier, to get those stuns, pick up the kill, pick up the first Punisher.
Yeah, much better Shrine control when it comes to that in particular. They bait the Punisher over. They're going to clear this. Should be pretty easily. Anubarak already rotated down. Chromie all the while continuing to try and poke that back line. Just do some damage there.
Yeah, I mean, it gives them a little bit of space to work on the Punisher. It's really on Draded to do that damage. And they'll get the fort wall. Not the biggest of deals. Swabs Magoo rotating down to the bottom while they have everyone going to mid. And then ultimately Swabs will probably reclaim his position into the top lane a bit later on.
Dragon's Eye being the pickup, which means it's going to do more damage to enemies hit in the center of Dragon's Breath, not opting to go with the one with the shorter cooldown reduction that generally helps with wave clear and shrine control. Just looking to do more damage and hope that the heroes around him can really do the damage.
Specialty walks right into the Howling Blast and pays with his life. So a nice kill here. Burrow charged a little bit too far forward as Johanna did end up stopping. Ish gets some good lockdown though. Portal dropped. Howling Blast does not connect. The roots, however, will go in. Looking dicey here for Ignition, and you know, I guess it's lucky that he hadn't really started Master's Touch yet.
Yeah, it's a good thing, but I tell you what else is a good thing. Elude's Grace at level 4, Jake. That's the one that gives you that extra range that we didn't see at all last night, and that extra range on the roots. Security kill, just saying, it's got good utility.
J-How, I miss my broccoli.
No, you don't. Nope, you don't.
Every time I see the broccoli, I'm like, oh, they added Cenarius to the game. Sweet.
Oh, my. Well, both teams prioritizing the Shaman camp at the top left. Maybe picked up a little bit early. Because the Shrine was in the top, it means that the next one is either going to be at the bottom or the middle. It is going to be at the bottom. So the winner on that will probably be Dahaga because he's going to be able to clear that out earlier. Plus, he has the global. So if things go their way, he can continue to push with that, come down later. It's the power of the global. We'll see how much value they can get out of it. Next Shrine is here.
Beautiful follow-up after that time trap, and the Aware gets the portal, gets the shield, but it's still going to be too little to survive out of this. So no support at the start of the Shrine phase pretty much means they're conceding a lot of skeleton defenders.
Yeah, now Nubarak can stay top without worry about giving up too much push there. So that does far more good as we see Ignition just barely making it out. As the damage continues to go. They're just waiting. They're like, you're not going to go through this door without a little bit of damage coming your way. As the time trap is there. Hello, Dahaga. Welcome to the party. He just like came right in and was like, this is not a good spot for you guys.
Anub did linger in the top for a while. We can see the Merc camp is here. The Fallen Shaman camp is going to get a lot of value, but no towers for it to kill, and the fort's not going to go down quickly enough to give them that experience. To the point where 10's an issue. 10 will be achieved by both teams at a relatively even time, but it's 10 ahead in terms of this objective count, which is a big deal. Only 8 more needed here for LFM, trying to get themselves this next Punisher.
Yeah, they're going to continue to rain down. Probably not able to hit just there, but they do pick it up in the end. They're also very, very close to 10. We see the Burrow going in. They're diving in deep. There's the Roots going in. Down goes Swabs. They're going to try and follow up onto Crux. Johanna walking away. Force of Will is going to prevent any more damage, but 10 was picked up. They're going to go in. But Jake, you talked about it. The Shaman was never killed. And if that doesn't get taken down, it continues to spawn his little doges. And it's got to be dealt with now.
It forces Chromie to go back, but you know, Chromie doesn't really do siege damage anyways, so I think they're okay with that. They're going to get plenty of siege elsewhere without her. Mid-wall or bottom goes down, mid-wall goes down. Not a huge lead overall, though.
Not at all. We have one fort down, and that fort went down to a camp. And I guess the previous Immortal help, or excuse me, the previous Punisher help. But as you can see, early Punisher's not exactly the strongest. Pretty even so far. I'm a little bit surprised Cursed Bullet is the choice. Yes, you want to burst through high health pools, but Johanna, I think her baseline health starting is now like 2100. Or something like that. So her health pool got nerfed pretty significantly.
It's true, but I just feel when like it's a little bit more of like a surprise effect, whereas like Go for the Throat can be stopped by Force of Will very effectively. Not that Curse Bullet can't, but it's only a 30-second cooldown. It's like, I'm okay with it. I don't think it's the biggest of difference either way here for in this situation. But this camp attempted to be stolen here. Swabs has to use Adaptation, backs off the point. Looking to try to pick up a kill. Adaptation has been used in its full effect, and the Specialty completely out of mana. And the Aware now has no energy generator for him since Specialty can't cast spells, and they are full on retreat status, trying to get away from this with their lives, and they'll be able to do so.
Man, they're in desperate need of Ignition to finish his stacks because right now they are lacking any and all damage. They just have not been able to take it in any fight. They're relying so much on Vala. Dahaka at 13 will add some vulnerability, which will help a lot. But for the most part, the Medivh picks tonight have been a little bit questionable. And until, yes, you're keeping people alive, yes, you're getting them out. But if you're not getting the takedowns, your team fighting and your map control are going to be that much more difficult. And if you're just using it as a defensive tool, as Crux got to be a little bit careful here, but it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, he's at 12 out of 30, and it's rough, right? He's not able to get these offensive positions. He's got to constantly be afraid of the crowd control of that, you know, the root, the double stun of a new Barak. It's a lot to have to worry about. Locust Swarm, the only cooldown that won't be ready right away here. They're looking at Chromie on the backside. Blast Shield's been used. Beautiful cleanse coming up from BBJ. The Twilight Dream onto 3. Leyline Seal has to be used as follow-up, but specialty so important for this team. Staying alive for a bit longer. Draded wants the kill, looking for the re-engage potentially. Chromie getting eyes on, throwing out the combo, hitting nothing. Draded goes into the back. Especially has the other second range of it though, and Draded, 30 HP! The portal is dropped. One auto should be enough. Oh, he's going to be able to use that Q, pick up the kill. That's big here for important support. Crux!
Oh, Crux taking a bit of damage. The burrow going in, and the force of will keeping him alive. Jake, that is the kill that they needed right there.
And Force of Will got 10 stacks in that fight. Also a big deal now. Medivh goes back. Bird Cam activated. 22 stacks out of 30. Gramian up in 5. Vala went back to basically get health and mana, but mana's going to mean big mana battery for the Aware.
This isn't a foregone conclusion that this is over. Because Vala had to back, she's just now there, and Gramian's going to be here as well. They are re-engaging, and with Chromie, anything is possible. The portal to the backside. They got to be a little bit careful on how hard they go. Blessed Shield already off cooldown, back and using it again. Swabs Magoo is trying on that backside. Chromie running for her life, but drops down the Dragon's Breath and secures the kill onto Johanna.
Yeah, nice kill there. The burrow charge going deep there. Crystal Aegis dropped, going to do a lot of damage. Not enough to finalize these kills, but Chromie so low manages to get the kill on Vala. BBJ about to drop. Medivh does find that kill, but it's a bloodbath. And the red team does take the advantage. Only Medivh still alive. 28 out of 34, the Master's Touch.
That got split real quick. Even Medivh had like that panic moment at the bottom and ended up having to use his Leyline Seal to save himself. The portals weren't quite in time or in position, so the rest of his team suffered. And man, I would say Bronze Talons secured about 2 kills in the middle of that fight. Not too bad if you're LFM to be able to re-engage after dropping that one hero in the last fight. But now they have a full level lead, and it's about to stretch a little further.
It is, but I just want to stress Master's Touch. It's like, it's such a big deal that even if he died right now throwing at a Q and hitting 2 targets, it'd be like kind of okay. Ignition just needs to make sure he doesn't get stomped by the Punisher and then followed up on. That would be disastrous. But yeah, they're going to have a lot more power behind them once they pick that up. They just need 16 as well.
Things looking on the up and up. It's 8 kills to 3, a full level lead for LFM. Not doing too shabby, but this is still anybody's game. Despite 2 forts being down on the side of important support, I mean, there really hasn't been that much opened up so far. No team
Master's Touch is
really
done.
Able to collapse. Master's Touch is done. That is a huge bonus for them.
Okay, Dahaka up the top, getting that soak. Chromie, soon to have her 20 talent. Something you always got to take into consideration. Sure, 16 might almost be here, but since you are behind, Chromie is going to have that power spike sooner than everyone else.
All right, 16 to 16. We basically hit the reset button. Ignition is going to basically scout out the area, keep an eye on things. Dahaka, I think, right now is just doing so much to keep them in the game. You've got fancier tools than I do. He has 10,000, almost 11,000 experience. Not too shabby. Anubarak matching him as he's been the other solo laner, but Dahaka doing really good to keep things in line. This is nice, this new UI.
Yeah, there's a lot of good improvements. The kill feed, everything is really fantastic. Blizzard put in a lot of good work adding new features, and you know, Ollie worked it into his interface, and it's wonderful.
You're wonderful, Jake.
Thanks, man. You too. Okay, it's going to be camp to camp. Bird Cam does have eyes on this camp. Another 12 seconds before this alter phase does become an issue, so they're going to opt to push in. If they even just take this well out, it's a big play for them here to even the situation when it comes to the, you know, the sustain available for either team. Hecarim thinking, do I want to burrow charge in? No. Chromie throws out the Sandblast, does not connect, and the Shrine is available.
That's such a huge power play to just walk up and make sure you take down their well. So neither team has a well to drop back to in middle lane now. So they're on even footing. So one team is going to go, one team isn't. The slowing sands are put down again to basically zone out. And anybody that tries to walk anywhere near the side of LFM is going to have a very hard time doing so. So Chromie has a small, I guess, corridor to poke down between right to left.
Detainment Strike was good there. Drag follow-up forces out the cleanse. Chromie's combo gets no value that time around, but this objective is dead even. You see 27 to 28 as Swabs McHugh is looking to put the pressure on. Leyline Seal not getting the value they're looking for. The Twilight Dream turnaround is pretty good, but the portal being a nice bit of utility for them to slip into the shadow. Swabs McHugh maintains that forward presence. No cleanse available for it. Rated down to 100 HP. Still living. Ish now will be the one that falls first in the battle. So Arthas is down. Crazy fight. The Aware managed to keep everyone topped off.
I've got to compliment Swabs Magoo there. He used his heroic, he used his essence perfectly. He stayed in that back line and disrupted everything to really zone out a lot of that team. I thought that was a very good job on his part to make sure and do that. That vulnerability that he had at 13 almost confirmed the kill himself. But huge shout out to the Haka right there to help really win that fight.
Yeah, he had the option to take that portal away, but he knew that he could stay and he min-maxed, like you said. So well done. He's got the pressure for his team moving forward. Now Arthas down for another 5 seconds. The Punisher dives over the wall. Reinvention Snag has been used onto Hecarim just to get some more DPS in there. They're going to be happy for the wall here and then just back on away as Arthas is indeed alive once more. Specialty. Vaulting in retreat. They do get eyes on from Chromie, but they are out of here.
And just like that, important support with the lead again as Dahaka cleared top lane, brushed Soccer bottom, cleared another wave, and he is just all over the map doing everything his team needs right now.
The power of the global. We do have the Adhoral Anomaly, so this is going to make Chromie another beast, right? She can basically not only ward up, but set up so many different traps if you're trying to collapse the back line. Well, a little bit harder to do.
You know, before the game, I was talking about, maybe it was before the series, I was talking about how Raynor might actually be coming back into the meta because of his Executioner at 16. One of the other heroes that does have it is, we might have a rotation. Crux, going to be happy to make it out alive. Good hold on the roots. They did not follow up. I'm actually a little bit surprised. The roots were used after Iron Skin, but either way, the slow from Arthas, which is basically persistent, pairs very well with Executioner talents for heroes that have it.
That's very true. I actually think that we'll see that, but maybe just teams aren't practiced enough on the Raynor. Very uncommon hero, I think, overall. 20 here first on the side of imported support. Anything crazy? It is going to be Medivh cheats. Essence Claws.
Always an interesting pickup when you go Medivh cheat. It's a high skill thing to do, and then you got to wonder what are you gaining out of it. And with their team, they don't necessarily have like these huge combos, I mean, the other options, you have them there, but if you just need to freeze their team and you're really good at doing that just to prevent damage, that's fine. But offensively, I'm not sure that they get the most value out of that. Reign of Vengeance being basically one of the only likely follow-ups to that, so we'll see. We'll see if he's able to redirect that into a kill.
Well, Medivh is giving eyes on at the start of the shrine, so they know they can get a few pickups. Vala is up there picking up 2 right now. The whole team has arrived for the objective. 20-20 does get locked in. Let's see what we got here. Hunter's Blunderbuss, a lot more siege. Bolt for the scary Twilight threat or the escapes and the rewind and the new Barak. A big power spike for many of these heroes. The time trap working against them there. The Twilight Dream onto 3 members. The follow-up is there, and Vala goes down. The Aware should follow soon after. Leyline Seal, not quite. Oh, the turnaround working out brilliantly for them there.
It does work out. You got to wonder if Swaps Magoo's going to be able to get out of here alive. He would be the most likely hero. His burrow is there. He's taking the portal back to the other side, but the time trap is going to lock him into place. That is going to confirm another kill, but man, Ignition somehow made it out of there with 50 health. But the minute that cursed bullet went off, Jake, I heard it, zoop, and then I just saw a health bar disappear.
And this is going to be a tough hold. This is basically keep one of the game. They open up the door. Arthas can solo that shrine in the top of the map. Johanna's already down, trying to just push out bottom, maybe get some XP for the team. Knowing this keep is lost, but 33 more seconds before Dahaka's up. They could look for a game-winning push.
Yeah, they can definitely do that now. I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of leave this here while they still have another moment. Yes, you want to confirm the keep to have more value to that Punisher, but one of the things you could actually do is leave that about half health and then turn around and get the camp. It's kind of a mixture if it's well-timed because it's Arthas on the shrine. It doesn't clear as quickly. If it's a much quicker clear, then you definitely would go for the camp, but they might still posture up on it. Dahaka is alive. It's a power play that you can make. You don't have to make it, but they're just going to go and try and get the keep. This has to be baited to the middle keep, else this will be game.
Well, hold on to your butts, because this keep's going to fall quick. This Punisher is going to dive deep, and they're going to look to win this game. So yes, the Punisher's been baited to mid. The fight has begun. Leyline goes out onto 3. Can they capitalize? Blast Shield doing wonders. Nice barrel charge onto the 2 in the back. The Twilight Dream takes out Dahaka. Looking for the follow-up on Johanna. Ignition just stepping into the base at the last moment. But the core starting to lose those shields, considering it's a 5v4. They're throwing their focus on the core. The Aware is so squishy. Chromie just dropping the damage left and right. Jay, how it's looking like a game 3.
I guess teams are ready to throw down tonight, man. We're going to have 2 best-of-3 series. I like the style. It means you've got good competitive games.